Welcome back to my reaction channel. This is AP. We love the man. Now, the person that he's with asked a question about ego, and he wants AP to really explain what ego is and how it operates. So let's get into it.
All that he can see is whether the next choice that he is being naturally drawn to is just an extension of the previous ones. The way has to be of the classical old rejection. Neti neti. If look at the basket of the new so-called new options and see which of these new options are nothing but a recycling of the previous ones. Reject them. You can never identify the new. Is that not obvious? Huh? The new is never available to be identified. Only the old can be identified. So identify the old. And with gratitude, send it away.
So only when he keeps sending the old, he can reinvent himself.
That is reinvention. That is reinvention because the one to be reinvented is the ego, right? And the ego is its own object. The ego has no existence of its own. What is the ego? Something that exists only in relationship with its object, right? So if you can do away with the old object, you have done away with the old ego. It's not so straightforward. It's not as if the ego is identified with the shirt. So if I remove my shirt, the ego.
Have any of you read his book Ego, by the way? Do you recommend it? Is it really good?
Will be gone. It's not that straightforward, but I'm pointing at something. Changing the objects that you have been habitually associated with is a necessary but not sufficient condition. It is quite possible that you change all the stuff around you, but the stuff inside you still remains the same. That is possible. But if you refuse to change even the stuff around you, then it is almost guaranteed that the stuff inside will never change. The ego takes security in its objects, mental objects, memories, physical objects, relationships. It wants them to be repeated again and again.
Mm-hmm.
So one who is validating whether it's actually changing him, right? Whether it's actually his identifications have changed or not.
Right, obviously. Because the ego is no mug.
So we're talking about ego and we're talking about self-identification. There's a couple things I want to talk about here. One is I'm all about advancing our lives into a state of being that that makes us feel empowered, rejuvenated, on fire, alive, and we have that juiciness in us. We have this aliveness in us. Even just sitting here and breathing and living, there's an aliveness within us. And this is why with my clients, I coach people out of the ego. I coach people to get into a different frame of identification. And so that's why I say we rehearse the future. We blueprint the future of an identity that is, you could call your an arch nemesis. And your arch nemesis is that person who is fearless, not afraid, does everything that he's supposed to do. He's great and extraordinary and talented and ambitious, and he's has a calm, tranquil peace of mind. And he doesn't identify with the ego, which is that survival mechanism within us that keeps us trapped in this survival state of life, where we're constantly afraid and scared of pretty much everything that's out there. You know, you get in your car and your ego starts identifying all the million ways that you can die in your trip. That's an overactive imagination, an overactive ego. And so what I try to do is, as adults, we use our imagination to play out circumstances of anxiety and trepidation. So all the things that could go wrong, we fantasize about them, we role play them, we have conversations with people as if they were going to happen, and then we identify with that. What I'd rather do with our imagination is act like kids again, act like these super machines that do not fear life, that we're cultivating our imagination to fuel our visions, fuel our manifestations. Remember, our consciousness is our focus, so we can be focused on the scared, feeble ego. It's all about comfort and repetitive habits that are comfortable and they feel good, but they not really are serving your best, your absolute best, your peak of your potential. Whereas the vision of your arch nemesis is that person who does the work required, who shows up every day, who molds and bends himself in the forge of this existence. He knows he's a great human being. It's like the best version of you. And so if we rehearse that future, if we go into our active imagination and we think about and we contemplate him, or what that man already has. Let's say to coach people, I want to have a really successful coaching business. I want to help people all across the globe tap into their potential to elevate them to that next level. That's what I want to provide. And so I think about the man who's already doing that at a bigger level than I am. And I think about all the things that he would do that I'm not doing. Like, how am I investing my time? How am I investing my health and my vitality in my body? How am I investing my sleep? How am I not looking at the results because I'm smaller than I want to be, and I don't let the small results that I get stop me from paving the future road. Listen, life is an uphill climb. We climb every day out of the trenches of the mental gutter. And if we don't climb out of that ego that's afraid of everything, we're going to fall victim to it, and we're going to self-identify with it. So I really like how he's talking about identification and how to change the ego narrative. We have to self-identify with something beyond our current matrix of reality, beyond our current perceptions of who we are. Fundamentally, we have to redefine our entire existence from head to toe and start warping our consciousness in our imagination around that idea. And then somehow by contemplating that, in coalescing and merging with that energy, we somehow become it more and more. The more frequent we gravitate towards it. But remember, it works the other way. If you're not doing that work, you're going back into memory, you're going back into ego, and you're going to warp yourself around this limited version of yourself. And it's really important that if you want to change your life fundamentally, if you want to be more carefree and peace of mind and power over your mind, you're going to make sure that you navigate out of the gutter and you realize that the ego is a simple narrative that just continuously just goes like this. And for many of us, it's very big. It feels very threatening, and it shuts us down, it immobilizes us, it makes us feel half alive inside because we're cutting off so much from ourselves to be comfortable and be safe. But life is an experience. It's all about taking risks and knowing that the risks always make you better. Listen, failure is a myth. Failing is not trying, and that's what the ego tells you to do. Don't try. It's too risky. Don't do this. It's too risky. Don't do that. It's too risky. Just play small. And the vision is what you need to have a big chief aim. You need to have something bigger than what you think is actually possible. Like you did when you were a kid. You didn't think about the limits of, oh yeah, I can't be a doctor. Oh yeah, I can't write a best-selling book. Oh yeah, I can't be a YouTube personality that helps change people's lives. Not me, not me, not me. Because you think about all the challenges as adults. We use our logic to supersede our playful imagination. We need to know how to exercise the imagination and become it first. Resonate with it energetically in that quantum realm, in your mind, in your consciousness. And then you become it more and more. The more you feel that energy, so when things happen to you, instead of reacting and playing small, you come from this place now, this new man, and you don't let this thing that would have destroyed you in the past really have any weight on your mind at all, because you know you can overcome it because you're a more resilient man. So that's why I preach hard work. That's why every day I say, give your all, give your very best. They say that we only live once. Well, we die. We die once. We die once. We live every day. Every day you wake up, when you go asleep, you have no idea where you go. And when you wake up, you reach that conscious state, and you have another opportunity, another day to give your very best, to give your very best. That will change you. That will change your community. That will change humanity, because people who do the work, who rise to the occasion, have an opportunity to change the world. And you playing small is not allowing that to happen. Listen, we all have different unique talents, a different music in ourselves, and we need to find our own tune, and we need to honor that tune, but not be victim to being fearful and afraid to show up authentically with inspiration and intuition and a feeling that everything around you is part of a cosmic flow and orchestration, and you get to live in it. You are a part of it.
It's quite cunning. It can very coolly play this game of changing all the exteriors and yet not changing the interiors. And it's a very spiritual game that the householders, the worldly people do not play this game so much. The spiritual people play this game a lot. So they will change their clothes, wear clothes of a certain color. They'll start living a certain way, and it will appear as if everything has changed. Even their language will change. No, they will shave their head and do all these.
He's talking to a lot of people who play the part. Like even in America, people play the part, right? But deep down, that's not who they are. And what he's saying is that you need to be congruent with the way you display yourself. That's, again, a word is authenticity.
These things. But inside, not much changes. So we are aware of that trap. We know that there is a threat of that kind. But still, what we are saying is that try changing. Ultimately, whether or not real change happens depends just on the intention.
It's beautiful.
The intention is the final thing.
By the way, if you're going through any ruts, or you're just trying to figure out how to like tinker yourself or retool yourself or adjust yourself to find, the genius in you, we all have this beautiful energy that is unique and original. And if you want help to learn how to tap into that, to fuel your life, to fuel your endeavors, to fuel your relationships, feel free to look in the video description. You can book a coaching call with me. It's just an introductory call. I would love to see if I can help you out. I love meeting new people. Just let me know. I'd be honored to help you out.
And we must also concede that if the intention is right, inner change can happen even without outer change, though the probability is quite thin. We know of people who have continued to live in the same place in the same way, and yet have internally grown into a very blossoming kind of state.
It's a good word.
All that is possible, but there are no formulas.
And also, just wanted to get clarity a bit more on when does one decide this change should be made? What will make one person to make that decision?
See, you do not get into experiences for the sake of nothing. One gets into anything because that thing provides meaning, because that thing is supposed to lead to improvement. So you have to keep seeing that you are the final measure of the worth of anything in the world. Please note it down. You
beautiful.
are the final measure of the worth of anything in the world. Everything exists to you and for your sake. So the moment you find that the thing is not adding value to you anymore, it's time to move on. Because that thing might be magnificent in itself, but the measure of that thing is the value that it provides to you. When you move on, it is not as if you're insulting that thing. You're just saying that it's my time to move on. The thing might still be very magnificent for several others, but it's your time to move on. Hmm?
See how he uses the word advancement. One thing about something that I feel like many people don't realize is that we're always advancing. And if we're not advancing, we're actually degenerating. And that's one thing that people think we stay the same. You know, you're always staying the same. It's just not true. Remember, the mind, the brain is super malleable. The moment, let's say you know a second language, okay? And let's say you didn't practice that language for 2 years. You're not going to have the same advancement or knowledge to speak that language. It takes constant advancement, constant learning and growth, and to create that skill. And so that's why it's a requirement for us to show up every day. Now, if you're doing the work mentally, you're doing the mental labor, you're aligning things, you're not coming from the ego, but you're coming from healthier states of consciousness. If you stop doing that for a month or 2 or 3 or a few years, you're going to notice that you're going to slip back into the ego, and you're going to get trapped in that self-preservation small self again. So every day is a new day where the warrior shows up, the warrior of the inner realm shows up, and he puts fire. He goes into the fire, into the forge of existence, and he molds and bends and shapes himself. This is what's required every single day, to continuously and constantly retool and advance ourselves. There's a willpower in us. You know, deep down, you have a will for something. You have and that's a will for evolution, will for absolute advancement, absolute growth. And so we need to strive and keep growing. We have a place in this world. We have a place in this world. It's not to be stagnant. Look at the ants, look at the bees. They know how to work. What happened to us? Because we have some higher degree of intelligence that we've stopped working, stopped advancing, stopped becoming. Do you see how when you stop becoming, you die? And we want to know that to always have bigger aims than what we currently are. That's the way to, I think, a quality experience in life, an elevation, a higher standard in ourselves, because we're always arriving to that next new level. And that's awesome, because there's endless work to do here in life. So if you feel a lack of purpose, a lack of direction, a lack of aim, it's because you're not seeing what life truly is fundamentally, which is this playground of opportunity, this playground of growth and advancement and evolution and constant experiences, because we show up fully every day alive to take on the world, to be a part of that experience, to feel it, to become it, to have it. It looks like the video actually ended here. So guys, thank you so much for going on this journey with me in AP. I appreciate it. I hope this video has benefited your life in some way. If it has, I would really appreciate a like. If you leave a comment below as well, that really helps the algorithm push this out to other people who might enjoy the video as well, or maybe get some benefit from it. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, I would absolutely love that. I'm new on YouTube. All these follows really mean something to me. It helps really grow the community and make it stronger. Thank you so much for your time. And I will catch you guys on the next video. I'm out. Peace.